Hey, Dan here, and I'm coming to you in the middle of a storm. Can anybody relate? Yeah, it's raining pretty bad, and I want to share with you my favorite storm story from the Bible. It's from the book of Matthew, and you may know it. It's when the disciples were out in a boat, caught in this ferocious storm, and their boat was getting wrecked. Their lives were in jeopardy, and out of nowhere, Jesus comes walking across the water, and it says they cried out to him in fear. And Jesus says these great words. I love it. He says, "Take courage, it is I." In other words, Jesus is saying, hey, I'm on the scene now. You really don't have to worry about this storm. And he also says, after "take courage, it is I," he says, "Be not afraid." So pretty amazing story. In it, the next thing that happens is Peter says, "Jesus, if it's really you, tell me to come out on that water with you, walking." And so, of course, Jesus says, "Come on, big buddy. Let's see what you can do." And he comes out, and Peter is walking on the water for a short time. He, at some point, recognizes that this storm is bigger than he ever imagined, that this storm has the potential to mess him up big time. This storm has the potential to take all that he thought was something he could hold on to take his life and take even more. So in that moment, when he realized all that was around him and took his eyes onto that and was seeing the wind and seeing the power of the wind, he sank. But then Peter does a pretty amazing thing. He says the greatest 3-word prayer, and he says, "Lord, help me." And in that moment, Jesus reaches out and pulls Peter out of the water and takes him through the storm, puts him in the boat, and says, "You of little faith," which, let me mention, at this point, the storm chilled, okay? But he says, "You of little faith, why did you doubt?" Now, I'm going to tell you the Dan Chauncy interpretation here of why Peter doubted. I believe Peter doubted because he got caught up in the circumstances that were around him and took his eyes off of the one that controlled the waves, the one that can carry us through anything, the one that is our Savior, that is our sustainer, that is all faithful and trustworthy. He took his eyes off of Jesus. So what I want you to hear here as we go through this storm that we're facing, and maybe some of you have been in a storm even before this whole pandemic. I'm sure some of you out there have been and are. Remember, we need to keep our eyes on Christ, because if we don't, we're gonna sink. And if you're feeling like you're sinking right now, I encourage you to say that prayer. Lord, save me, and put your eyes on your true Savior. Thanks for listening. Peace be with you.